Recording has started.
It depends on their situation. Like we've got one set of buyers that, I've actually been working with them since my first year in real estate, and they've still not bought anything. And now all of a sudden they're like, okay, like we're really real now, and but they don't. It's a second home, and they don't have to buy right now. But they're, so they're worried about buying at the top of the market. So I'm kind of encouraging them to just kind of sit tight and wait a little while, unless they see like the perfect property. Um, but don't settle at this point because things may take a little bit of a decline. But then on the other hand, if there are people that really need to buy, I'm encouraging them to do that and look at different loan options and, as far as like arms and things like that and refinancing down the road. So
Yeah, gotcha.
kind of a case by
Gotcha.
case for me anyway.
Case by case.
Or
Yeah, Jerome, Chantel, you guys have anything to add to that?
Yeah, same. I think the buying and the selling experience is very personal for everybody. So we always encourage our clients just to really understand what they're looking for, make sure that if they're buying right now, they talk to a mortgage broker, someone experienced in the area that understands the market, that can really help them to make sure that they're getting the right interest rate right now, that this is the right house for them. And we've piggybacked off of what Frank has said a couple of times, and we tell them, hey, interest rates are really high right now. Marry the home, date the mortgage rate, just try that, and it works. It really does. And Jerome always has a really good point. He says right now things are normalizing. So what we had a year ago with interest rates was not normal. It wasn't normal to see 2%, 3%, 5%, 6%. That's a little more normal. So I think we need to shift the conversation, and instead of talking to people about, how they're scared, it's unstable, talk about the fact that this is the new normal, and we need to really, dive into that and understand our market and become experts for what this new normal is.
Yeah, yeah. Good points, good points. Lois, what about you?
And I guess the counsel I'm giving is kind of the same as what they said. Everybody is an individual, and so it's their own individual situation is what I counsel to. And I agree, I'm also using the word normalizing. I don't think it's correct for us to put fear tactics into the market. All it does is it destroys us all if we do that. And so just telling them, that it's reaching its new equilibrium, that the pendulum had swung way too far, frankly, in my opinion, of the sellers. And, none of our kids are going to be able to ever afford to live in this town again. Everybody's talking about it. So it's reaching a new balancing more towards the middle. And so there's opportunity, no reason to stay out of the market. And also, like I tell them, I've never seen, a substitution for housing. I'm saying I've never noticed that a park bench or a cardboard box is an alternative. And so that kind of, they kind of realize it. And then I tell them that, frankly, where we were living was not a real place. Interest rates, the reason they were there is because the government was trying to avoid a very ugly place, which I don't think most people realize, and that was called another Great Depression. And so those were not normal. So if you didn't jump on the bandwagon, well, that was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And that 6% is historically normal. I mean, it just truly is. And with the amount of time that people live in a house, 6 to 7 years is what NAR tells us, is was said, date the mortgage and marry the house. It truly is true, and they can rebalance. And I'm also telling you, you don't have to do you're not married to a 30-year fixed for 30 years. Add an extra $100, $20 to the principal every month, and then re-amortize that loan throughout time. Don't be afraid of that. But Americans don't know how to run money. So, I'm saying I try to teach when I try to sell property.
Yeah. I think for me, and I heard this a couple of days ago, last year was a lot of people hit the lottery. A lot of sellers hit the lottery, and a lot of people getting loans hit the lottery because of the historic low rates. So I think that's perfect when you guys are talking about this is more of the new normal, right? This is kind of how it is or how it was, right? So that's good. So, Chantel, Jerome, with this new market, what are a few things that you've stopped doing? What are a few things that you're starting to do? And is there anything that you haven't quite done yet and that you want to start implementing?
I think that we're being a little more strategic with buyers, overall looking at things that, maybe weren't in their realm before. I think there's more opportunity now, and that's a big thing that we're trying to push, is that there's a lot of people that made offers, on properties, 6, 7, 8 times or whatever, and they just couldn't solidify a contract. So now, you're getting to watch things. We're having conversations like, hey, let's see what happens on this one. It's not, hey, we need to rush and write something right away. There's more inventory too. I mean, that's the other thing, is I've been going over that with a lot of people, is like, hey, when you started looking a year ago, there was 230 houses on the market. We're almost 100 more, 120 more right now. So we're seeing more inventory come up, which is helpful for buyers. So I think that's kind of a nice thing. I think the other caveat that's important now is, like, anybody could just list a house before and not do anything and just show up, throw it on, and it sell. There's actual marketing and strategy, and pricing is now becoming a legitimate factor. Whereas I would probably argue, like, you could just throw anything at the wall and see what stuck before. So there's pieces there that are making a difference. So I think that both of those, as far as selling and buying, are important. And those are strategies we're trying to implement now on listings and different things like that.
Yeah.
I think there's more opportunities for investors. I think that's another realm for brokers as well too, that they can capitalize on, as well as creating their own inventory. Now there's going to be more opportunities to buy stuff and things like that. So we're working on things like that as well.
Cool. Brett, Danielle?
Yeah, I think he summed it up really well. But I think from our standpoint, we're going to really just try to reach out to the people that we've not heard from in a while, and just kind of let them know where the market's at. Like Jerome said, I've been kind of tracking the actives, and they're up 45%. And I mean, obviously, it's still a very low market in terms of active listings, but that is going to provide more opportunity for buyers. We're not really stopping doing anything, but just getting back to the norm, like Lois said too, just open houses. And we did open house last Sunday, and we had great traffic. There's still a lot of people out there looking, and that's a great opportunity to pick up, potential clients. I don't think there's anything else to add to that.
Cool.
Things we haven't done but yet want to do. What do we want to do?
We're always talking about doing, client appreciation parties and things like that. We just never seem to get around to it or find the right time. So this fall, we're definitely going to do a big party and have all of our clients over. And
yeah, Frank, you've given us a lot of motivation with just all the ways you've done it, and you've done it right, and just the way you stay in front of your clients. Yeah. So it's much appreciated.
We've also created a new website, so we're trying to finalize that and get it all perfect and launch that out to the public too. So
sweet.
Something that we're trying to focus on as well. So
that's cool. Awesome new website. How about you, Lois? What do you got going on? What have you stopped? What are you doing now?
I guess I don't really I see it as a business, so I've always run it as a business, and so I don't ever stop or change. Nothing really changes for me. You know what I'm saying? It's I try to keep it steady, and so I think like I said before, we just as professionals don't need to be adding to what the media likes to put in there, because that's how they sell stories. It's either too great or it's too good or it's too this or it's too that. I'm like with Jerome, There are always opportunities in any market for anyone. You just have to go find them of what the deal is correct for that person and stuff. And so, that's, the normalizing right now. Yeah, it was hyper crazy for a while and was in the seller's realm, and they could throw anything out there, and we were shocked at what happened. But now they have to, price it right. They have to, they have to make it look good. Where before, I sold some really torn up properties, and I was shocked at what people were willing to buy. And so I just try to keep it, try to keep it balanced for everybody, and try to point out stuff. Try to get the emotions out of it. Make it a business transaction. It's the biggest thing they're going to ever do financially, most likely. And so just try to keep them within their head and not let that fear kind of go crazy on them. My friends, my colleagues, my this, my that, the news. Just kind of just keep it steady here, guys. And so we'll all just keep eating. If we let it get out of balance, then we get into scary places.
Yeah. And, folks are like sheep, and obviously, like what you said, the media has a lot of influence. With the media and the information that's out there, it can really slow things down. Obviously, it's done it. But I think for me, what I'm trying to do is have the messaging be relevant and fresh, right? The messaging out there is, look, well, you couldn't get under contract last year. It was very difficult. You were competing with multiple offers, cash offers, above list price. Now buyers have that shot. And for us, Lawrence and I have been working on going back 2 years to all our pre-qualified people and say, hey, let's resurrect you guys. Come on, come back to, now you can do it. We have a lot of options with mortgage rates. They're normalizing, stuff like that. So just trying to keep the information and the messaging out there fresh and relevant for us is what's been really, really important. So, let's see, Lois, what are you focusing on the majority of your time right now? I know obviously is you just sticking to your same plan that you always have, or anything else?
Yeah, pretty much. I did the ninja training a long time ago, and I've often found that to be a very relevant way in order, it's all the stuff that you guys talk about, the parties, staying in front of the clients, I'm saying those ticklers of, who's doing this now, what have you, spinning their plates. And so that's really what I do. And it really makes a difference. When they come into my mind, I've often had some sort of a weird instinct, like if I'm passing by my house one time, a little voice inside of me said, oh my God, you need to go in there. And I walked in there and I had a leak, if these people pop in my head, I think they pop in my head for some reason. And so I, reach out to them, and they're all like, we were just talking about you for breakfast, and we want to sell now. And so for a lot of mine that's what the ninja does for you. It puts you into kind of this pacing of yourself, so that you don't have these highs and these lows, these valleys and these peaks and stuff. I've often found it really valuable training and stuff.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody else out there? What are you guys doing right now?
Well, our daughter, Aaliyah, she's getting her license, so she's joining our team. So we are building our team. It's going to stay within the family, which is great. But we evenly work with buyers and sellers. So we're doing similar things to what Brett and Danielle and Lois are doing. We're reaching out to our clients that we haven't talked to, touching base with everybody, trying to make sure that we stay ahead of it. And hopefully that works. You're right, it's a business, so we just need to keep moving forward.
Yeah, I think we all have our databases with our previous clients, or maybe clients that maybe didn't close, but they're still out there, and just staying in front of them and staying in contact with them. A birthday card program or a birthday gift program. Client appreciation is always good. Client appreciation, then add in like a charity or something like that, just to even bring in more people from the community, and try to like make it where we're the experts. If you need to buy a house, sell a house, I'm your person, right? I think that's really, really good. Let's see, Brett and Danielle, right now, when you talk to buyers or sellers, what are you hearing from them? Do you hear fear? Do you hear excitement?
Do you want me to?
Okay. I muted us, sorry.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's interesting, like the open house we had last week, and not only for that, but just overall, buyers are pretty savvy. They've heard that the market's slowing down. Obviously, every state's different, so it's up to us to educate them on, what's happening here locally. But the majority of the people who came through pretty much had heard, oh, the market's slowing down, and we let them know, in a sense it is. But I think when I looked last week, there was 50-something new active listings that came on the market, but there was almost 80 pending sales. So things are still moving. So people need to be aware that, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a buyer's market at this point, but things are just taking a little while to sell. Add anything?
No, I think that's,
Okay.
sums it up.
Yeah. Jerome, Chantel?
Yeah, I think that's a good point, is that bringing up the component on the sales and the inventory, things are still turning over. I think that, there is opportunity now where there wasn't necessarily, you weren't in such a rat race, especially on the buying side. So you have to leverage those things and, more normal stuff, running, open houses and, working those aspects on listings and stuff where you didn't really have to do a lot of that before. So, yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, cool. Lois, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with what they're saying. It just is more of a normal, and I think, and Santa Fe is different than when they look at the normal kind of statistics that are out there and stuff. We're just kind of this more neutral type of a town and stuff, and so you'll see it. And I guess the big one is what the National Association of Realtors says, that at any given time in history, somewhere under 40% of the people in America are selling a house for whatever reason. Divorce, death, the kids left home, it's too big, we're having a family, we're getting bigger, accidents happen, health type of an issue, job relocation, school relocation. It's our job just to go out and find those people. You know what I'm saying? You always have to be on the, I've said to people, some people get offended by it, but I still believe it's true. I sometimes keep it to myself, we eat what we kill. It just is the nature of finding in sales. That's what it is. You're looking for a paycheck and stuff. And so as things, if they contract, you need to see, what is the book, who moved my cheese, but there's always cheese out there, and that's why I'm a big advocate for education with my designations, with the Santa Fe specialist that I helped design, thought of, is that, we just need to be good at the hunt. And those of us that are good at the hunt will survive any market, will survive any change. And frankly, I think when I've studied realtors as a sociological perspective, the reason that we're here is because we enjoy change, and we enjoy that. It's something about our personalities. And so I think the change is good. I welcome it. I think if it was stagnant and if we always were like just punching widgets, I don't think half of us would be here. I think it would kill us because our brains need more activity and stimulation. I think that's why we're all here, and that's why we are where we are, and frankly, why we're all attracted to each other as friends.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things, like when I'm talking to buyers, I'm trying to listen to if they have fear, right? If they have excitement, are they fired up about buying a house? Are they worried about something? But I think, like Brett said, their buyers out there are pretty savvy, right? The problem is sometimes their savviness turns into confusion because they're listening or they're reading things on the internet or on the news or anything like that. And so, what's worked really well for me is data. Just supply them the data. Here's the numbers, right? here's the graph on what the interest rates have done here, over the last, 30 years or so. This is why this is why it's a normal, the rates are normal right now, right? Or just providing them the data as a real estate agent to show them, look, yeah, this is how many more houses are on the market than last year. Houses are taking a little longer. This is why it's such a great time to buy now. I mean, it's better now, or vice versa, sell a house too, right? So I think the data is very important. That's my opinion, is just providing data to the folks to overcome their maybe their fears or their objections or something like that, right? Wrap it up. Any insights on the next 12 months? I know we don't have a crystal ball, but things can change on a dime in this industry, like they just recently did. But any insights, guys? Sorry.
I think that I think we're going to see things stay pretty consistent. I think that when we get closer to the next political election, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the rates drop a little bit again to start stimulating things, to make things move a little more. That's just my theory. So I think that, I don't think it's going to be major jumps like what we saw, but I do think that there will be couple little dips there, and there'll be some opportunities for buyers. And that's one thing I think about is there's, statistical data, like you said, Frank, shows that there's about 40% of the people right now that got a pre-approval or priced out in some of these markets. That's not necessarily all specific to Santa Fe and surrounding areas, but there's a good chunk that are just waiting. So it's important to remember that when, things keep evening out more, there's going to be people ready to, that are just waiting to buy once they're able to. I think that there's going to be a lot of opportunities in new construction too. I think that like in areas like Albuquerque, we've had conversations on that. I think there's a lot of inventory that's been prepped and prepared, and they're trying to move it. And with the interest rates, it's taking some of the people out of purchasing. So I think there's going to be opportunities there where they're going to drop things. I think that they're going to allot additional funds. Like, I know places like Pulte are allocating, some contracts like 15 to 25,000 on incentives to try and help, buy down points or do different strategic things like that. So I think that there's definitely going to be
stuck with inventory, those big builders. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Sure. Brad, Danielle?
I guess that's me. I agree with what Jerome just said. I think it's going to be a lot of what we've been seeing the last few months. Obviously, a lot depends on the economy and just consumer confidence and all that. So there's obviously a lot of things that can happen. But I think it's just going to be a lot of getting back to normal, like Lois is saying too, and just we all needed this. It wasn't sustainable, and it really came at the perfect time, because if it didn't come, then it, who knows what would have happened. So looking forward to the next year, and I think more inventory is coming as well. Obviously, Lois probably knows more stats on that, but I'm sure our inventory levels are still at least 50% down or more. I'm not sure, but going to be good to get back to normal and writing offers and not having to compete with hopefully as many cash buyers, waiving appraisals, waiving contingencies that shouldn't probably be waived. And so we'll see.
Yeah, cool. Lois, how about you? What do you see?
Yeah, I guess the same thing like Jerome said. I worked for 5 big builders here, and when these markets come, those builders are paying that interest every day. And so, you don't, if you've never worked for a big builder, you can't even imagine interest like that. I mean, and so, then they start to present different things to the buyers and stuff. And if you're a broker representing buyers and you are, saying they're looking for a house, there's nothing wrong. New construction makes people really happy with those warranties and stuff. And so I'm getting those emails regularly as well. we've got it, we need to move it because, that eats into their profit margin. And so, make the builders your friend, get on those email lists if you represent buyers. And I agree, the election, or if we have any more disruptions of war, what have you like that, will make a big difference. And so, being up on the news and stuff so that you can, reset people's buttons so that they don't get so excited and just keep them on track. We know that the labs is going to hire 5,000 people. And I don't know if you saw that this morning on the news, but down in Las Cruces, there is they're going to bring in another movie industry there that's supposed to be bigger than the stuff in Albuquerque. They're thinking thousands of more jobs there. You guys are licensed by the state. Don't take it on yourself, but that's what the service does for me. I sell all over the state because I do service, and I know people that are of the quality of us that I share listings for. They're boots on the ground, and then we bring the Santa Fe power because everybody in the world knows where Santa Fe is, you know what I'm saying? But they may not be able to afford it. But in other parts of the state, it's more affordable. So, I mean, I think I don't foresee anything bad. We just go to work. I think we've seen the bad, guys, and we all lived through it. It was called a recession, okay? That's the worst. And I lived through both the 1980 recession, which was the worst part of the one we've been through. And I've been able to put food on the table and save money for my retirement. So just save. Just don't spend crazy, and we'll all be fine. And one day we won't have to talk to each other except on Facebook and talk about what we're doing with our spare time.
Yeah, yeah. I think for me, I try to keep an eye on like what's happening, in the markets and all that. I listen to a guy named Barry Habib who always kind of gives his insights, and he's been pretty spot on. And he says a little bit about like, we may have a couple of ups and downs with mortgage interest rates in the next few months or so. The Fed's still got to have a couple of more announcements out, in the next few months or so. But he really thinks we're going to see something like towards the end of the year where the rates will come back down, not to historic lows of 3%, but maybe more 4% range, which is going to be an opportunity right there too, because hopefully it'll get people even more motivated when they hear the positive news, obviously if the media spins it that way, right? So, but I think in a nutshell, I think we're all going to be fine. We may be able to have a little bit more time on our hands, maybe get some, not work 24/7, but have some time off a little bit, take advantage of that. I think take advantage of building your craft, right? So learning, training, catching up on things, coaching if you have a team that you're building, getting them coached up, getting them ready, because I think this business, like this year, it can switch on a dime. All of a sudden it goes from 0 to 100 miles an hour overnight, right? So anything else you guys want to add before we end it? First of all, I appreciate you guys taking your time, but anything else you want to add?
Well, thank you, Frank. Just want to thank you for putting this together, and thank you, Lawrence, for organizing as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
Great to see all you guys.
Yeah, it's great to see you guys. And just, we all put our heads together. Obviously, I think that's important too, where we all just get back to communicating. It was just so fast paced. It just seemed like, you put in an offer and you don't hear from 90% of the brokers. And it's just, I think, good to go old school, pick up the phone, have conversations, share war stories, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, you guys, thank you so much. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy Indian Market. Nakona Burgess, which is Danielle's husband, is an amazing artist. You guys got to go check out his stuff at Indian Market. And have a great one. Thank you so much again. Get the word out. Thanks so much. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.